The Orlando Magic are still searching for their energy. Where they find it, well, that's not the best place to go today on Locked On Magic.
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is January 25th. It will be January 26th, 2026. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com, credentialed member of the Orlando Magic media since the 2012 season. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers. And once again, the story is what it always is. The offense, the poor shooting, the lack of energy, and how it drains everything. Where does the Magic's energy come from? We'll talk about that, plus the return of Jalen Suggs. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. We truly appreciate you being one of our Orlando Magic dailies, our everydayers who listen 5 days a week, who listen for our weekend episodes, who listen as part of their regular podcast rotation, who listen as their first listen of the day, who are members of our Everydayers Club. So we want to thank you for making this Locked On Magic community so great, and we want to thank you for helping make the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. Today's episode, your team every day. There we go. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. It's the last call for football on FanDuel. If you're a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. There's not a lot for me to say about Saturday's game. 119-105 loss to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I can give you the rosy statement, and I can give you the bright side argument for how this game went, and we'll address that. I do want to address that. Like it's not good enough, but we're trying to take some steps here. But there's just no getting around how this game went, how this game evolved. It came down to shooting. It came down to whether the Magic would make enough shots to beat Cleveland. Cleveland shoots 15 for 34 from three. That's 44.1% and 53.1% from the floor. Orlando shoots 40.7% and 11 for 40 from three. That's 27.5%. I could give the Magic all the credit in the world for staying in the game, for getting to the line for 32 free throws. First time in a while, it feels like that they've gotten 30 free throw attempts. It's such a key part of who they are. But so much of success in this league, and this is all time, this isn't just in the modern era, is you've got to make shots. You got to make key shots. You got to make shots at times when momentum is building for you. And time and time and time and time again, the Magic would get open threes. And we don't have the shooting data on this yet, which is frustrating. But we don't have the shooting data yet from the NBA. As I'm recording this at 5 o'clock on Sunday, it just felt like the same trope repeated. Every time the Magic got an open shot, every time the Magic worked their offense to get an open three, to get a look that you would kill for, they missed it. And immediately the ball went to the other end of the floor, and Cleveland got a key three-pointer. Like, Cleveland got 2 3-pointers, 2 for 4 shooting from three from Lonzo Ball. He's a 30% three-point shooter. They got 2 for 4 three-point shooting from Naquan Tomlin. Don Mitchell was just 2 for 8. Evan Mobley was 1 for 6. There is a lot of things the Magic did well, and I do give the Magic credit for staying in the game, keeping it at this like 5 to 8 point deficit. But I remember I was watching the game secretly at my sister's wedding. I was watching the game with a friend of mine, and I turned to them and said, with like 3 minutes left in the third quarter, it's an 8-point game. Either the Magic are going to cut this thing down to 4 to end the quarter, or they're going to be down 12 at the end of the quarter. And how these 3 minutes go is going to determine whether the Magic have a chance to win this game. And you can guess what happened. Cavs hit some key shots. They go up 12. Start of the fourth quarter comes, like, Orlando's able to get some shots to go in. It's not like they went through these long offensive droughts, but Cleveland had a series where they made 3 threes in a row. And Orlando couldn't answer. Couldn't answer with a shot, couldn't answer with free throws, couldn't answer to keep up. And they were essentially trading 3 for 2 even when they could. 15 threes isn't a lot, but the Cavs are just making so many shots, and you're climbing uphill so much that eventually, like, yeah, you let go of the rope. As Paolo Banchero said after Thursday's game, it's really hard to stay committed defensively when shots are not falling. And it would be one thing, and I think the tenor of this conversation would be completely different, and maybe we'd be having some bigger, more serious conversations today if this were the case. It would be one thing if the Magic weren't trying to execute their stuff, for whatever stuff you think they're executing, but they're trying to execute their stuff. If the Magic weren't trying to find, weren't searching for something that works. Because I do agree with Jamal Mosley. I do agree with Desmond Bane. Like, they got a lot of good looks. And just unfortunately right now, shots aren't falling. Whether you believe in the coach cliche that you can't control whether shots go in or out. They're not shooting with confidence. And so eventually it's all just an energy drain. Cleveland got up by 18. They were up by, I think, 12 after 3 quarters, but they went up by 18 for their largest lead of the game. And credit to Orlando, they fought back. They got it down. They cut that lead in half. They didn't quit. They quit against Charlotte for long stretches. They didn't quit in this game. They were just a few makes away from making this a game. But at the end of the day, like, that's the problem still. It's all the same problem as last year, as Paolo Banchero also noted after Thursday's game. It's part of it is schematic. I'm not going to deny that some of the problems offensively are schematic. And it is why we are having such open conversations and such open statements of the Magic need to think. Yeah, I mean, I frankly, it's just what I told people throughout the day on Sunday as we're just picking up the pieces of this game. I was just like, look, the Magic need to tear this offense down to the studs. Like, they got the players. We know who the players are. They need a completely new offensive system. And again, yes, that is why it feels the writing is on the wall for the offseason that there's going to be a coaching change. Like, I don't think anyone can not acknowledge that. Like, the offense needs to be better. Not only that, the offense needs to work independently of the defense. The Magic have to be able to get some energy from their offense. They have to be able to rely on their offense when their defense isn't working. The whole premise of this season is that the Magic would be so elite on defense that an average offense would be enough. An offense that ranked 16th, 17th, 18th, and the Magic have been slipping, but they were 16th for most of the season. They're now 18th, maybe 19th in the league in offense. I mean, they had a 105 offensive rating. They were just not, they were 1 or 2 offensive rating. They were not good on offense. I'm not sitting here saying they were good. But eventually you do need, you're going to have games where your offense has to give you your energy. And in the playoffs, you know, again, defense is all relative. Defense, you have good defense if you hold teams to less points than you score. That's good enough defense. But this Magic's defense isn't elite. Cleveland was able to break ball containment. They're able to get in the paint. They're able to draw Wendell Carter out, dump down to their bigs, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, whoever it was, Thomas Bryant on occasion. They're able to kick out to open threes as defense collapse in the paint. This isn't an elite defense. And so we're sitting here at game 44 asking, where does this team get its energy? Asking, how do we build something that consistently energizes the team enough to play at their maximum capacity, to play at their absolute best? Because this ain't it. And at the end of the day, it's still like I wear the shirt occasionally when I'm podcasting. It's the old Northwestern basketball motto: make shots. Like, nothing energizes a team more than everybody touching the ball, everybody seeing the ball go through the basket. And perhaps 4 years of just being unable to get the ball in the hoop has finally crushed this team spirit. Because they're not playing with that intense effort. They're not playing with that hectic energy. They're not playing that controlled chaos. They're not even playing decent defense. I'd take mediocre defense at this point because they gave up another 120 points per 100 possessions. Like that they've blown past last year. Like this is not last year's defense. I'm not breaking any news there, I hope. Maybe I'm breaking news to Jamal Mosley because like they need to make some adjustments and change how they defend. This Magic team is searching for energy, searching for something to lift them up, keep them confident. And they can't rely on their defense, and they certainly can't rely on their shooting. And both of those things ultimately betrayed the Magic in what was a winnable game. Again, I give credit to the Cavs for the way they played. I'm not disparaging Cleveland, listener our friends at Locked On Cavs. But this was a winnable game, and the Magic simply weren't good enough to win it. So where will the Magic's energy come from? We got some candidates because Jalen Suggs is back. We'll talk about that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. It is the last call for football on FanDuel. One final Sunday. Well, you might still have time depending on when you're listening to this because the AFC Championship game is in the second half as I'm recording it. But there's one last Sunday, one last kickoff, and the final chance to get in on the action before the NFL season officially comes to a close. This is Super Bowl 60, and FanDuel is making sure you are right in the middle of it with a special offer just in time for the biggest game of the year. Whether you're backing the favorite, riding with the underdog, or hoping Trevor Lawrence jumps in with a steel chair for the Jacksonville Jaguars, this is the game everyone has been waiting for. This is where predictions turn into plays, stats turn into storylines, and every snap feels a little bit bigger. It's the perfect way to cap off the season and make the Super Bowl even more exciting from kickoff to the final whistle. If you are a new customer, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets if you win. Make it count. Because after the Super Bowl, the season is over. Last call for football on FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of Super Bowl 60. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. We want to thank you for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. And this is the time to listen and be part of the Locked On Magic community because the NBA trade deadline is only a little more than a week away. And we want to give you a free month of our new Everydayer Club to help you get ready. If you need a group chat to keep up with the chaos, join ours. The Everydayer Club gets you access to a group chat on Discord just for Magic fans, plus national chats where you can hang out with fans from across the league. I hang out in there. I'm always in there. It's still young, still small community, but we're growing and we need you to help us grow. Always pop in a question. I literally answer everything. That's always been my motto to answer everything, facilitate discussions. Pop in there, ask me questions during games. Now that I don't have to go to a wedding and miss a game, now I will be posting the 3 thoughts after every quarter of every game. That is exclusive to this Discord server. I do not post them to my public game threads. You'll also get ad-free versions of the show. And if you sign up by the trade deadline on February 5th, that's a week from Thursday, you can use code DEADLINE to get your first month free. Tap the link in the show notes to learn more or go to lockedonmagic.supercast.com. We are not in the business of saying effort's good enough. Like, I want to make this abundantly clear. The Magic were not good enough on Saturday in a key game, in a critical game. Like, let's be real. the Magic are one loss ahead of the Chicago Bulls right now, streaking Chicago Bulls for ninth. They are 3 losses ahead of the Atlanta Hawks for 10th. So I'm still believing this Magic team's making the playoffs. Like once Franz Wagner's back, like the talent level's too high. Like they're going to win basketball games when Franz Wagner returns. Now that when could be a little trickier to explain, but this team is good enough. Will they avoid the play-in for a second straight year? I don't know, but they're good enough, assuming they're healthy. And that's a pretty big assumption, of course, that there's still work to do on that front. And I would not anticipate Franz playing until at least Friday. I do not think he's going to play. He's out for Monday against Cleveland. He is probably going to be out again Wednesday against Miami would be my guess, but we'll see. Ankle soreness is fidgety. But I do think they're going to make sure that he's taken care of so that he can play the long term. Again, that's the goal is you don't want guys in and out of lineup, which again happened. And maybe playing him in Berlin was a mistake. Like I'm glad he did. I'm glad he got that experience, but maybe it was a mistake. I'm not worried about the playoffs. I still think the Magic will be in the fight for the 6th seed. They're not far out of it. Everyone's going to go through ups and downs, and this is a down for the Magic. First 3-game losing streak since the 4-game losing streak at the beginning of the season. You're gonna have opportunities to make that up. So this isn't good enough. Coming off of Thursday's game, though, I will say the effort and intentionality was much better. If the Magic play like they played on Saturday night, they will win more often than they lose. Did they play well enough and it's just like, oh, shucks, they didn't make shots? To say like, oh, they play like that 9 out of 10 times, they're going to win. No, they still got run out of their gym. They still deserve the boos that they were getting. They're not doing simple things really, really well. And they still let go of the rope a little bit. It happened later in this game, but it still happened. And, again, we're trying to, it feels like we're trying to build basic building blocks again. So I will give credit where credit's due to say like they didn't quit on the game. They continued to fight, and it did come down to just making and missing shots, and they've got to be better at that. I'm not pretending otherwise. But the good news is they did get Jalen Suggs back. And Jalen Suggs obviously is a huge impactor for this team. The Magic had a plus 10.1 net rating with Suggs on the floor entering this game, like 106.1 or 106.2 defensive rating. With him on the floor, he just feels essential to everything the Magic do. He is their identity as this try-hard, never quit player. He is essential to everything the Magic do. Having him back mattered. Orlando got off to a better start. Yes, they trailed a little bit early, but they kept it within 2. It was 25-23 after 1 quarter. Not ideal, but you're not climbing uphill. And again, the Magic were playing from behind the entire game, but Jalen Suggs hit a 3 on the first play of the game. Like he put them in a position to play well, and we'll get to his stats here in a minute. But Suggs ultimately didn't have the impact the Magic really wanted. The Magic had a 133.3 defensive rating with him on the floor, 98.1 offensive rating with him on the floor. He's with some bench groups that didn't really work out and probably put a little bit too much on him. But generally, I thought Jalen Suggs played very, very well. He finished the game with 9 points, 3 for 6 shooting, 6 assists. Not like overly crazy good. Struggled guarding Donovan Mitchell. Just, again, it's like, oh, you haven't played in 3 weeks. Here's Donovan Mitchell. That'll happen again on Monday. But I thought just generally a good return game for Jalen Suggs. It just looked like he was getting comfortable again. And you could tell that his energy lifted the team up. Same thing with Mo Wagner. Mo Wagner, 13 points, 4 for 11 shooting, missed some shots around the basket, 1 for 5 from 3, but 6 rebounds. Like that is a classic Mo Wagner stat line. Maybe not as efficient as we would like, but a classic Mo Wagner stat line. He played hard, made energy plays, like mixed things up, was physical. These are 2 energizer bunnies for the Magic. And look, obviously the impact wasn't great. Like Jalen Suggs was minus 17. Only Noah Penda had a higher plus minus. A lot of that coming at the end of the game. Mo Wagner had a minus 14 plus minus. So translating this energy, especially as these 2 players get back into rhythm, into wins, into something that's winning is obviously one of the big challenges facing this team. But like those two guys weren't the only guys that played with a ton of energy. Like Noah Penda always brings energy. It's a little chaotic. He's a rookie. He makes a lot of mistakes still. He's either incredibly good or like unplayably bad. This game was a little bit in the middle. I would honestly say this game is a little closer to unplayably bad. But the Magic trust him to finish games. Like Jalen Suggs hit his minute limit. It was 24 minutes, it appears. Hit his minute limit, didn't finish a game. Didn't play at the end of the game. And, probably him playing at the end of the game would help the team a little bit. The Magic got a lot of energy from Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane played 38 and a half minutes. Same with Paolo, but Desmond Bane, I thought, played with so much energy. Like, there are a lot of flaws on this team. There's a lot of flaws with Desmond Bane. There's certainly a lot of flaws with the way the Magic are using Desmond Bane, although he did get 6 threes in this game. But I really loved just his aggressive mindset. He was always attacking, always getting downhill. And again, the problem is that, the Magic's perimeter defense right now is just straight trash. It's just not good. They're giving up a lot of drives. They're not containing ball handlers. But look, energy is half the battle right now. Like, this team cannot do anything successfully if they don't play with more energy. And they got hit with some bad bounces. There's one play in the fourth quarter, really key play in the fourth quarter, where Wendell Carter fought for a rebound, got positioning, but knew he couldn't grab it. So he tried to tap it out to a teammate. And Donovan Mitchell stepped in, got the rebound, and dished it to Jared Allen behind Carter on defense. And it was just like, well, what are you supposed to do? Like, your guy made a hustle play. He won the 50-50 ball, and just a bad tap out and a tough, an easy finish. So again, like, it's like, there are a lot of bounces like that. There are a lot of, like, Cleveland makes a contested three, or there's just a lot of plays where I was just like, man, it would be nice if the Magic could just hit one of these threes. Just these like pull up threes, these like quick swing threes. Like, it just feels like every Magic three is just earned. It's not like, oh, we got a three. It's, we had to fight to get this three to go in. And it just, again, that just speaks to how uphill this path has been right now, because there isn't a lot of confidence. There isn't a lot, there is a lot of frustration right now. It isn't all coming together. It certainly isn't coming together the way the Magic wanted to. And, Orlando, you could just feel the frustration. And so, again, we are not in the business right now of saying play with energy. That's all that matters. Energy is expected. That is a minimum requirement to play with energy, to play with intensity. That is a minimum requirement. And I'm not here celebrating that they did it. I'm here pointing out that they did it better than they did Thursday, which doesn't take much. And they did it, I thought, at a level that will win them games. If the Magic played with the energy they played with Saturday, again, it may just be 6 out of 10 games. It might be 7 out of 10 games. I'm even saying the energy was like upper levels or elite levels. But it was good enough to win games if they could have made shots. Because I think that would, again, making shots also gives you energy. And I think ultimately, the misses, the frustration over missing open shots, that causes effort to collapse. That causes lapses. That opens up opportunities for the other team to get out in transition where you have to scramble a little bit. And again, I'm not here lauding effort and saying, good job, here's a participation trophy. Again, the Magic were not good enough on Saturday. But that's the first step. And that's why having Suggs back matters. That's why having Mo back matters. That's why I think despite everything, Desmond Bane's actually had a pretty good season. I would give him a B or a B plus for a season so far. The Magic, we're not even thinking that the 3 seed is still possible without Desmond Bane. And yes, the 3 seed is still possible. Not going to take very much. They're still right in the race. They got work to do now. They got to climb in the next 38 games, but 3.5, 4 games and 38 games remaining is very doable, especially because you still got 2 more games against the Raptors, including Friday. You still have opportunities to make that climb. And again, Monday's a great opportunity too. Take the energy that you got from Monday, take gain some confidence from saying like, oh, we just lost because we missed shots. Do the same thing, and you might steal a game on Monday. Do the same thing Wednesday, you get another big win against Miami. Do the same thing Friday, you get a big win against Toronto. Then you're heading into a tough road trip with the mindset of we can get one. Go get one of those two against San Antonio, Oklahoma City. And then guess what? You get, I think it's Brooklyn, Utah, before you finish with Milwaukee to go to the All-Star break. If you could find a way to have just 3 more losses before the All-Star break, or 2 more, even better, 2 more losses, you're probably in an okay position. You're probably okay. I think 3, again, what I say? So we got the 3 games, got 3 games at 5, 7, 9. If you can go 6-3 over the next 9 games heading into the All-Star break, you're gonna be in a good spot. You're gonna be okay. And it starts with this energy that I'm talking about. And again, that is a bare minimum requirement. And yes, we are down so bad that we have to reinforce bare minimum requirements. I'm not sitting here pretending that we're in a good place. So I want to make that clear. We're not in a good place. There's still opportunity ahead, but we are not in a good place. But it's got to start somewhere. And getting these guys back helps. Eventually they'll get Franz Wagner back. That will help. And then we'll see where we go from there. Let's run through the box score because we have to talk about Paolo Banchero's game. I know some of you will hate that, but we got to do it. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like being in an NBA arena. The crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't always been simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs with the fans. I am getting ready to go start doing more road trips this year. I've got a road trip planned to Minneapolis, which may or may not be a good idea at the moment, but I'm excited. I want to go back to Minneapolis. I haven't been back there since I worked for the Wolves back in 2009, summer of 2009. Go Lynx. I'm excited to go back, but it just so happens my Northwestern Wildcats are also going to be in Minneapolis. With the Magic playing in the afternoon, Northwestern playing at night, I am scouting Game Time every single day to make sure I have a ticket to the barn. And if you want to join me, come join me in Minneapolis, that I have a ticket to the barn to see my Wildcats close their regular season against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. With the app, I get my price my all-in price up front, so there's no surprise Visa checkouts. I can check the view from the seat. I can get digital view of the court, so I know what kind of tickets I'm buying. And I'm always on the lookout for those zone deals, so I can choose the section, and Game Time picks the seats, so I can save some money. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. That's code Locked On, LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. Gametime.co. All right, as we do after every game, we're going to rip off the Band-Aid a little bit. We're going to go through the final box score, talk a little bit about what we saw from individuals during this game. And despite the Magic really not scoring a ton of points, because again, they only end up with 105. I think they had like a 102 defensive rating, shot 40.7% from the floor. I give them a lot of credit getting the line for 32 free throw attempts, 11 for 40 from 3. The Magic did get scoring from a lot of areas that they're going to need scoring from. Like really what they were missing is some consistent bench scoring and obviously 3-point shooting to keep up. They get 20 points from Desmond Bane, 7 for 14 shooting, 2 for 6 from 3, 4 for 4 from the foul line, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 3 turnovers was rough. But generally, like this is, Desmond Bane had a Desmond Bane game. And like, again, I really, like Desmond Bane hasn't been the transformational offensive player that we thought. And I think we can all agree, like, okay, it's weird that 2 straight years the Magic added elite catch and shoot 3-point shooters, and they both forget how to shoot or don't shoot near the level that they're capable of. if you're a three-point shooter, you're going to have 2 for 6 games. I'm happy that Bane got 6 3-pointers. Like, let's get him more looks, please. Let's get the volume up, and I think the makes will follow. But again, like, Dez has been just pretty consistent throughout the year, getting you around 20 points per game. Just being a solid driver and attacker. And I want to talk a little bit more about his attacking and his ability to get to the basket, because that's been such a huge development this season. Bane has just been solid, and I thought he was solid in this game. Now, with all the injuries the Magic have faced, the Magic have been at their best when Bane has been more than solid. But you brought Bane in to have games like this, like maybe better 3-point shooting, but you brought Bane in to have games like this. And so in a big game, in a big spot, I thought he really provided that for the Magic pretty well. Jalen Suggs, like I said, 9 points, 3 for 6 shooting, about as well as you could expect for a debut game, first game back in 3 weeks. Like, his defense was definitely a step off, so he's got to get that timing back. But really confident offensively. Like, that guy had none of the baggage of the last 3 weeks. Really played with a ton of confidence, got to his spots, made shots. Anthony Black, an okay game, I would say. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, 6 for 12 shooting, 3 for 7 from 3. AB is wildly, AB is not when wildly inconsistent. Like, the scoring's been pretty solid. He's confident. He's looking for his own shots. Passing's been better. His playmaking's been a lot better. Again, Orlando has 21 assists on 33 field goal makes. It's not like the ball wasn't moving. So again, like, I want to repeat this. I really do believe this game was just about shooting. And the Magic just missed too many open looks, which they do. And it's a problem that they do, because results do matter here. But I do agree with Mosley that the process was pretty good. And it's going to be incumbent on the team to keep the passing up and keep the ball movement up to make this work. And really, like, I didn't love the first 3 quarters from Paolo. I will admit that. It just always feels like when he has the ball, like, the team's just playing differently. And he's playing a different game than everyone else is playing. But Paolo did a really good job offensively in this game, keeping pressure on the rim. So even when he wasn't shooting the ball well, and I think he started 2 for 9 from the floor. So again, like, for me, the key with Paolo is I need a constant drumbeat. Like, have your big quarters, but you got to be kind of a constant drumbeat. And again, one thing that I thought, again, he did really, really well is he just got to the foul line. When the Magic needed a basket, again, because they kept this game close. They were trailing, but they never really trailed by more than 10 in the first half, or really in the first 3 quarters. And that was because, like, okay, we need a basket. Paolo's going to get the ball. He's going to get to the paint. He's going to make something happen. He's going to get to the foul line. And look, Paolo has his moments where he's complaining the refs, but this was more of the kind of classic Paolo game that you want. And in the fourth quarter, like, he took over. I have 0 complaints about the way that Paolo played in the fourth quarter. Honestly, like, I need Paolo to play with the fire and intensity he showed in that fourth quarter earlier in the game and throughout the game a little bit more. Because again, this has always been my point about Paolo. This team's going to get its energy and its confidence from him. I can talk about all those other guys that I want. All I want. But Paolo is the leader of this team. He is not, with Franz Wagner out especially. He can't be trying to ease his way into the game. He's got to play with intensity and urgency from the start, and the rest of the team will follow. And so then he can take a step back. And again, Paolo, for the most part this year, has tried to be a good teammate. He is not selfish. He's not hunting for his own shot. He's really not forcing a lot of things. He is trying to keep others involved, but he is the kind of player who does have to force things sometimes, especially when things are difficult. And so again, I give him credit. First 3 quarters, got to the line really, really well. I believe he had 15 of his 27 points in the fourth quarter. Was really the only reason this game didn't get further out of hand. 27 points, 7 for 14 shooting, 3 for 6 from 3, 10 for 12 from line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. If games like that, if stat lines like that become the norm, the Magic are going to win a lot more games. Let me see if I can pull up potential assists real fast. If you let me stall a little bit, because I am trying to do some of this stuff. I just thought of looking that up. In yesterday's game, Paolo had. Oh, they don't have Second Spectrum data. Second Spectrum hasn't updated their data. That's fantastic. Good job, everybody. I don't know how many potential assists Paolo had in there. Let me try one more thing here. Yeah, we do it. Okay, we do have potential assists. Paolo had. I don't have potential assists. I apologize. Yeah, so I don't know. Player tracking is not updating, so sorry for the delay there. But like, give me the urgency that Paolo had in that fourth quarter. Like, I don't think that was I thought Paolo was just a little too kind of passive in the first three quarters. Like, he's getting to the line. Like, I want to give him that credit, but like right now, this team needs to fire, and frankly, like that was the difference. Like, not to bang on Paolo too much because I do think he did well. That's the difference. Like, Paolo got going and Donovan Mitchell answered. Donovan Mitchell had 20 of his points in the second half. He had 20 of his 36 points in the second half. He had 10 points in each of the third and fourth quarter. And you could just kind of tell there's this moment where Donovan Mitchell was ready to take over and they could just feed him the ball and get him shots. And again, Magic's defense was not good enough on Donovan Mitchell. They did not make things hard enough for him. He was able to get to his spots, get in the lane, hit floaters, make passes, make three. Like, he didn't make a ton of threes, but the Magic did not slow him down. That's why Donovan Mitchell got 30 shots. Again, Paolo gets 14. Like, again, like there is a little bit of like, okay, you're the star. It's time to exert your will. And again, if that's what Paolo's learning this year is like, he's swung too far to trying to be a good teammate and make everyone fit in. And he needs to go back to like, no, you're the star. Do your thing. Like I'll sit here and say if he has like a 6 for 20 game or 6 for 22 game or 7 for 22 game, whatever it is, I'll sit here and say like, look, I've been asking him to take over games. Like, it didn't work. He didn't make shots, but we need that attitude. We need that swagger. Like Mo Wagner said, we need some swagger again. Get your swagger from your best players. Like that is the best way I can describe this. And so hopefully that fourth quarter got Paolo going a little bit because that's exactly how he needs to play. And so I was happy to see that. I don't think this loss is on him. A lot of players missed a lot of shots. I thought Paolo was just a little passive earlier in the game, but he found his groove in the fourth quarter and gave this team a chance. If someone could have hit a shot besides Paolo, or they could have gotten stops. And look, Paolo's got to be better defensively too. Don't get me wrong, but your stars are really important. And the Magic are down a star in Franz Wagner. He doesn't have the help. So Paolo's got all the eyes on him. That's always been the case. And I thought he did well, but obviously just didn't get that going early enough. So if he does that, hopefully the fourth quarter is a turning point for him. I'd love to see that because this guy should be getting 30 a night right now. Should be flirting with 30 a night. Should be flirting with a triple-double every night. And he's been flirting with triple-doubles most nights, but there just needs to be a fire and an intensity about him that I don't think we've seen fully. Mentioned Mo Wagner, solid game off the bench. Wendell Carter had a mixed bag, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 3 for 9 shooting, 1 for 5 from 3. Just he's going through a little bit of a shooting rut right now. I thought his first half, he got bullied a little bit on the glass and struggled. I thought the second half, he was a lot better. Again, like defense was just such a mess on the perimeter. Like no one was getting stops. Like Anthony Black still can't really fight through screens particularly well. You're playing Jace Richardson 15 minutes, which is understandable. Like Jace got the backup guard minutes in this game. Jace fights on defense, but he's struggling. And look, he's a rookie. He played like a rookie. Tristan da Silva went 0 for 3. Noah Pendo 1 for 4. Goga Batadze 1 for 4 in 5 minutes. So the Magic are still like kind of seeking some stability and defining roles a little bit. And they're just looking for consistency because at the end of the day, like the only stat that matters from this game is the Magic shot 41% and 28% from 3. The Cavs shot 53% and 44% from 3. The defense has to be tighter, but you make some shots and that makes that easier too. And so just, you got to make shots. Like, I'm sorry. Like I wish I had a more difficult and complex thing to tell you. I thought the Magic did a lot right in this game. I thought the Magic put themselves in a really good position to win this game more often than not. They just didn't make the shots to earn, they didn't get the results for their process. They didn't make the shots that their process should have netted them. And that's why we're here talking about a third straight loss. The Orlando Magic fall to the Cleveland Cavaliers 119-105. The two teams are in Cleveland. As I'm recording this, it is my understanding the Orlando Magic took off and landed in Cleveland, beating the Storm. So we will have Magic basketball on Monday as they once again take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. But that's going to do it for me today. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. You can subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, TuneIn, Himalaya, Google Play, Spotify, Odyssey, and all the formats you download podcasts to your podcast-enabled listening device. You can check us out on YouTube as well. Just search for Locked On Magic. For the latest on the Orlando Magic, be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us there on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, the Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. There you will get an extra article on the Orlando Magic every Monday through Friday. I'll be writing about the energy from the game on Friday, or from the game on Saturday, for the newsletter on Monday. So you get that, or you could check out our Everydayer Club and join our Everydayer Club Patreon page, our Everydayer Club Discord server, as well as get ad-free audio of this podcast. I want to thank you again for your support. For those of you on video, we send you the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen NBA game night on Locked On NBA. I know they talked a little bit about the Magic Cavs game on Saturday's episode, so be sure to check that out. I want to thank you all again, once again, for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Thank you again for letting me take a Saturday off. My sister had a fantastic wedding. Thank you everyone who sent well wishes to my sister. I will share some of those with her. I don't know if you need to know too much more about her life, but congratulations to my sister. Had a great wedding weekend. Ready to get back at it with some Magic basketball. Hopefully a turning point for the Magic. But we will be back tomorrow to talk about the Magic's game against the Cleveland Cavaliers. This is the rematch game in Cleveland. We'll get to that on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Phil Rossman. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.